Ceramics is a medium with a life its own and cultural significance. Human civilization is glorified by the Chinese ceramic culture. It has accompanied humans with unadorned beauty for thousands of years. It does not adulate the wealthy and avoid the poor. It has followed human steps modestly and achieved a new historical height and cultural sophistication after millenniums. There was no mineral glaze before the Tang Dynasty. Ceramics were coal-fired and ash-glazed. It is called Proto-Celadon. The increased use of mineral glaze since the Tang Dynasty has made it easier to fire, model, and color ceramics. As mineral glaze became the mainstream, wood-fired ceramics declined and gradually stepped out of history. Ho Chi Lung has been making ceramics with the ancient technique used before the Han and Tang dynasties for many years. Clay was transformed in the kiln into fully glazed, transparent, delicate, and beautiful Jade Celadon ceramics. The breakthrough uncovers the wood firing technique buried in history for 1500 years. Ho Chi Lung rejuvenates and revolutionizes the technique. The features of Jade Celadon ceramics are a witness to his achievement. This Celadon is expressive of the beauty of shape and curve. Ash glaze is particularly fluid, and therefore I use this shape to capture its movement. Thanks also to God, it succeeded in encapsulating the beauty. Celadon is highly regarded in China. People around the world are making ceramics, but only the Chinese can make Proto-Celadon. It originated from ash glaze and matured in the Han Dynasty. However, metal glaze was developed in the Tang Dynasty, and mineral glaze was discovered in the Song Dynasty. When people found that mineral glaze was more stable and manageable in cost than ash glaze, they turned to mineral glaze, or metal glaze, which is also more controllable. Ash glaze was thus abandoned in the Song Dynasty. Since then, no one has studied or touched it. It was not until recently that we discovered it is one of the roots, the origins of the Chinese culture. Now we have brought it back. One can say that Jade Celadon ceramics bridges the gap in the Chinese history of ash glaze ceramics.
但是翡翠青瓷其实也等于说解决了中国陶瓷史上灰釉的这一个断代。
Historically, Shang, Zhou, Warring States, Han, Qin, Shui, Tang, Song, Yuan, Ming, and Qing are all culturally prominent periods. Images 3 and 4 indicate that mineral glaze was probably developed in the Han and Tang dynasties. Due to its relative manageability, ceramicists began to move from ash glaze to mineral glaze and thus ended the age of wood-fired ceramics. The difficult but precious technique has been on hiatus since then. It has been approximately 1500 years. Since there was no mineral glaze before the Han and Tang dynasties, how did people make ceramics with wood fire? What colors were they? How did the glaze fuse into the clay body? How well did it cover the body? How did it produce the effects of transparency and ice crackles? The ancient ash-glazed wares are misty, covered with tea green, light green, or brownish green. They have various beautiful shapes, but they are not fully glazed. In terms of saturation, ice crackles, smoothness, interaction of colors and lights, and transparency, they are inferior to the new generation Jade Celadon ceramics. The old saying, blue as the sky, bright as mirror, thin as paper, and resonant as chime, represents the highest standard of Celadon. It is also the goal of today's artists and wood-fired ceramics. Sincerely speaking, the four features seem to be manifested in Ho Chi-lung's Jade Celadon ceramics.
I am fortunate to have learned the wood firing technique the way it was applied in China 1500 years ago. It places clay into the kiln and fired it with wood. I am lucky and happy to be able to revive Celadon in Taiwan after it has disappeared in China for so long. Thanks to you, we are able to witness the charm of wood-fired ceramic. Some experts of Jewware and Junware came around from Henan province lately. They said that they believe there is no add-on glaze. There is only ash glaze. They were even more excited than I was to witness the revival of Celadon. Our director has a discerning eye for art. It was scheduled to open after the New Year's holiday, but I said, no, it shall be on display before the holiday. Very beautiful. What impresses me most is that you don't mind people taking pictures of it. The Bureau has given me so many blessings, so I decided to offer it in return. The Jade Celadon Ho Chi-lung gave to the Bureau of Cultural Heritage as a gift is placed between the showcases. The ash glaze flows naturally. It is impossible to achieve its clean and natural colors with add-on glaze. The colors seem to be designed. The colors, they are symmetrical. The colors are symmetry of the brows seems to be carefully arranged. This is my third work collected by a museum. You see, the colors is perfectly symmetrical. It's really... Our team makes the wares with our souls. Everything has a soul. Ho Chi-lung's earlier works, made in other people's kilns, were glazed only on the fireside. He had wondered why natural ash glaze cannot be fully applied. Therefore, he decided to build his own kiln, in hope to make wares 360 degrees glazed. In 2 years, he had pulled down or rebuilt the kiln for 13 times. It made him realize that the control of fire and time is the key factor for success. As he proved this in the following years, his works had transformed from partially glazed to fully glazed, and from dark green to bright green. Finally, he overcame numerous difficult problems. The glaze became multi-layered, emerald green, fresh, beautiful, and transparent. The beauty of Celadon is well known. It won the literati's hearts with its harmonic, sophisticated, and serene beauty. Ash glazing is unimaginably difficult, with a success rate of less than 3%. The whole kiln is often imploded. Its laminates collapse, its airflow impeded, and the glazing uncompleted. It's extremely difficult, and it testifies to its value. On close inspection, the failures include unattached ashes, insufficient heat, blocked air, ineffective cooling control, inadequate experiences, and conflict between idea and expression. This is Ice Jade, the most fascinating example of my work. Wow. Once in Taipei, when I was arranging tables, I paused to look at it for 2 hours. If not for other business, I would have stayed there. It's perfectly transparent, with the texture of jade ice. And this peacock, its proportion and contour are really marvelous. God has blessed me with the talent to make it. I have fired and ruined at least 100 peacocks before it.
每次都坏掉。这个良率
Our yield rate in the early days is only 3%.
因为它要面对
The cost of materials and other things are high.
如果我没有在监狱
If I was not firing it in prison, using the cheap clay bodies it produced to try time and again before I fired my own, or established makers' more elegant works,
高雅的
I would have
我的
failed.
早就垮了。
Ho Chi Lung's wood-fired Celadon has the color and hardness of jade. It is named Jade Celadon Ceramics. It is totally wood-fired without any add-on glaze. The airflow helps the wood ashes fall and attach to the ceramic body, turning it into a beautiful, transparent artwork with aesthetic value. Hand glazing has been the dominant way of glazing since the Tang Dynasty. But what do blue as the sky and bright as a mirror mean in the documents related to wood-fired kilns? What kind of Celadon do they refer to? It has been a mystery since there is no existing object, no clue to how to make it and how beautiful it can be. This is why we say there is a hiatus. To today's ceramicists approaching wood-firing technique, how to overcome various difficulties and make the Celadon is a serious question. Look at the diversity of today's ceramic art. No one seems to have been honored to successfully make a fully glazed, transparent, and beautiful Celadon with wood fire and ashes. Perhaps Ho Chi Lung's unique wood firing technique is the key to the Millennium Mystery. Let's see it this way.
这样来看哈，
I have been emphasizing that this is natural ash glazing. It is multi-layered. See it with our own eyes. We can immediately perceive at least 3 or 4 layers of ash glaze. Under a microscope, it is even more astonishing. We have indeed fired clay into porcelain. Frankly speaking, I think if not for God's help, humans can never make it.
到目前，我觉得除了上苍的加持啊，人是绝对做不出来的。
This is Ho Chi Lung's driftwood repository. The woods are collected daily and placed into a special kiln. In the fire, their remains are turned into ashes, which attach themselves automatically to the clay body, layer after layer, in the adjustment of temperature and airflow. Then, we have beautiful Jade Celadon ceramics. To modern people, it is undoubtedly a unique technique. The fresh beauty of Celadon is inherent with the artist's wisdom, perseverance, and emotion. It contains infinite energy, spirit, and cultural power, and converse with humans directly and warmly. Sit facing it quietly at night, and you will feel it is inviting you deeply and tranquilly. The so-called ice crackles are a result of ash glazing. The special pattern is formed because glaze and clay have different coefficients of expansion. It has subtle texture and distinct color effects. Ice crackles are multi-layered, and every layer has its own pattern. Thus, we see a different landscape every time the light changes direction. The special ice crackles, crevices, crystals, and layers of light are the favorite features of Jade Celadon ceramics. Every layer has a different color. It is particularly moving to see how they overlap in the light. This is an enlarged detail of ice crackles and crystals. It shows how, as every contaminant is removed from the glaze in a high temperature for a long time, the clay is purified, emitting a transparent green light of jade.
They peeled off spontaneously from the top of the kiln in extreme heat for a long time. It's like a crush, because they seek to unite with the clay body. It should be interpreted as natural.
彼此暗恋产生的这样的结合应该都可以解释为自然。
The glaze was not added on outside of the kiln before the clay entered the kiln. It is generated naturally inside the kiln. The attachment is just so wonderful. It's like a big elephant bringing a small elephant.
用竹子来表达节节高。
Bamboos are used to symbolize success. It is a natural result of ash glazing. In contrast to any traditional ceramic works, this work has several distinctive traits. In close view, its crackles are as smooth as human skin. Other ceramic works with add-on glaze are glazed before they enter the kiln. Therefore, you can see clearly that their crackles are single-layered. But in our work, you can perceive immediately that its crackles are multi-layered. As you see it with a microscope, it is even more amazing. This is the first trait. The second trait is if we see it from the side, the Jade Celadon shines dazzlingly, like a sea of diamonds. It is another feature that other ceramic works do not have. Why? In a word, it has many layers of ice crackles, which reflect light so profusely that they generate those crystals, or a myriad of diamonds.
它的开片并列好几层的，经过强光照射进去的时候，产生一色叠光。 反射出来的光就是那些金光，一点一点的钻石光。
It is loud but has no sound. It is great, but has no image. The most beautiful sound is close to silence. The greatest power is rarely visible. But in accumulation, they are overwhelming. The drops of glaze set out with an infinite power. They are the dawn of hope, spring that symbolizes new life.